HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Noor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.
Hello, dear parents and community. Welcome to another session of HES Academy's Family Engagement Broadcast. And with me today is Hala Malla from Access. Welcome, Hala.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone.
Today's session will be about building healthy friendships. كيف تكون صديق جيد؟ الصداقات المفيدة. Healthy friendships is a very important topic for students and also for parents to understand how to help their children build very healthy friendships, and also how what's called social engineering. How can you create the environment in which your children will have great friendships, and how important they are to your child's health development. Before we jump into the presentation, I wanted to remind our parents that today is the second and last day of the parent-teacher conferences that are taking place in all our academies from 2 to 4 p.m. So you still have 55 minutes if you want to catch up with your children's teachers at the academies. Here's a reminder. I made the video, so I'd like to use it. I hope that if you've attended the conferences already, that you've enjoyed them, you've connected with your child's or children's teacher, and gotten any updates on their academic and behavioral progress, and if there's any help or assistance needed to reach the end goal of the end of this academic year. I also want to share with our parents that our academies has undergone ALICE training. ALICE is a very advanced and one of the most successful school safety measures to respond to dangerous situations, especially active shooters. And we've gotten a number of staff certified to be trainers for ALICE. And with the help of the Dearborn Heights Police Department, we've conducted staff training at Star International Academy. And there are staff trainings scheduled for all the other academies also during the upcoming few weeks. And this is a short 1-minute video about the last training that our staff has undergone at Star International Academy.
The point of this training is to put you through, to get you out of the feeling of freezing or not knowing what to do. You are empowering yourself and you're empowering our students on what to do in an active shooter situation.
But what we as police officers do for high-stress situations is we train for those situations as well. We like to call it stress inoculation, which means that if we practice for something enough, that if that situation does happen to us, we are able to then recall that training and handle it at that time. Does that make sense to everybody? So first of all, as to kind of echo Principal Abdallah's words, you guys did a phenomenal job today. So give yourselves a round of applause.
But we've done this without students. You need to start thinking, when we do this with students, how we're going to do it. Just feel and understand that that's the point of this. You're empowering yourself. I think we can't reiterate that enough. You're empowering yourself, and hopefully by next year, all of our students will be empowered as well to make that decision. At a point where you understand that, hey, we're no longer sitting ducks. You know what to do. That initial shock, you felt it, okay? It's real. So I'm so proud of you guys. I mean that wholeheartedly. Thank you for doing what you did. For those of you guys who reacted the way you needed to, it was phenomenal. Honest, I was very, very proud of the team. Very proud of you guys. Sorry.
Without further ado, I present to you the health educator from Access, Ms. Hala Malla, to go over this very important presentation. If you have any questions, please keep them till the end. We're going to go over each one of these questions. The presentation is going to be translated into Arabic in the slides, so please enjoy that too. And afterwards, it will be available on the podcasts of all these academies, and also available on YouTube and Facebook of the academies, in which you can share it with others, or if you want to watch it with your children later, you can do that. It will always be there on YouTube as long as there is YouTube. At the end also, we are going to show 2 more videos before we leave you for a great weekend. Thank you again for Access and for Hala, and welcome to Family Engagement Broadcast.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you everyone who is watching this now and who will be watching this later on. Hopefully we will have many beneficial things to be learning today and a lot of useful information. And so today's focus will be on helping your children learn how to be good friends, respectful friends, and then also how to recognize healthy friendships and then also unhealthy friendships. So that way they're better off making the right choices, and they know what kind of friendships to keep in their lives, and then how to take care of those healthy friendships. So we will begin by looking at an overview of what today will be all about. So we will talk about what a healthy friendship is, what an unhealthy friendship is, and then also the different signs of unhealthy and of healthy friendships. And then at the end, of course, we'll have many different tips on how to help your children deal with any unhealthy friendships that they may be facing. So before we begin all that, it's good to understand what friendship is. And friendship involves people who, the child or anyone really would feel close to the other person. They might have many similar interests or similar things they enjoy doing. And then there are also people who do care about us. They're people we can trust. And then there are also people who offer support and offer understanding in times when it's needed. And so for children to understand that that is what friendship involves, and that's what is friendship all about. And so that really helps the child know what they should be looking for and also what to be expecting from their friendships. And then when we are in healthy friendships, to let children understand that this means both people can talk about whatever it is that's on their mind. They speak together, hear from one another, and also figure out different ways to figure whatever it is out. So if they are having some sort of disagreements, or they might have something that might make the other person uncomfortable, they should understand that it's safe to speak about these things together and that they can come to some sort of agreement. And it also involves making sure that everyone involved in this friendship has respect. The child respects the other person, and then their friends also respect them. And so if a friendship is lacking respect, that is also something they should be looking out for. And it's also, with friendship, it also means that people do not try to change one another. There's usually this trust in each other, accepting one another, all the good qualities, and then also helping out if there is something that needs to be worked on, but not trying to change the other friend or change the other person for their own benefit. So for like the child's own benefit, trying to make the friends in a different way or making the friends seem like they're someone who they're not. That can also mean they're not accepting them, or unconditional acceptance and love and friendship. And then also with friendship, the person should feel safe. So especially letting your child know that this relationship, this friendship, should really involve feelings of safety, whether that's physically or emotionally as well. And so if your child feels unsafe in a friendship, that's also something that they should be looking out for. And then overall, they do feel good when they're together. They're not someone that they maybe dread having to spend time with, or they regret spending time with them. And then there's also this equal amount of give and take. So effort from both children, or from all the children involved in that friendship. Everyone feels like they're doing their part. So not to feel like your child's the only one reaching out to their friends, or the only one who's putting their friends first, and then they're not receiving that in return. And so we know a bit about healthy friendships, and then different ways to let your child recognize what a healthy friendship means. But then there are also the qualities of unhealthy friendships. And so when your child is in an unhealthy friendship, it's good to let them know that they could possibly be feeling some of these different things listed here. So they might feel like spending time with that friend is a burden. If they get a call from their friend telling them to spend time with them, they might feel they don't want to do this, or they feel like it's a burden or anything like that. And then they may also feel bad around that friend, uncomfortable a lot of the time, maybe having to do things that they're not too comfortable with, or anything like that really, where they don't feel as safe as they should be feeling. And then also sometimes in unhealthy friendships, there may be little to no respect for one another. They may be disrespectful, there might be name calling or pushing, anything that really makes the child feel upset, uncomfortable, and sad. And then also, if your child or the friends end up feeling like they have to act differently around each other, they have to pretend to be someone they're not just to make sure that their friend continues to speak with them, or if they feel like they are constantly being asked to change who they are. And then also this could have trust that's being lacked in this friendship. So maybe if your child tells them something that's a secret or something personal, and then other people in school know about it, or everyone seems to be knowing about the secret. Or maybe they're constantly having all their secrets told. Maybe other people are being, gossiping about the child. Anything that really makes the child feel like their trust is always being looked at and it's being neglected, really. And then also there might be conversations that are one-sided. So maybe your child seems to be talking and the friends aren't listening to them as often as they would like them to. Or maybe your child feels like they're the ones who are only listening and then really responding in a meaningful way. So that was just a little overview. There are a lot of other features to unhealthy friendships and healthy friendships, but overall, to let your child know these different factors, these different things that could appear in healthy and unhealthy friendships can really be a good starting point to let them recognize what kinds of friendships are they in. What kinds of things would they expect from their friends, or what would they like their friends to do more often, or what would they like their friends to do less of? And so that gets them thinking as a first step to see what kind of friendship am I really in? And then is this a friendship that's good for me? And then the reason we talk about healthy friendships is because they can really affect your child in many different ways. And so one way is that they can affect the way your child is feeling. So if a friendship is healthy, then the child's more likely to feel confident, happy, social, overall having a good time, especially with their friends. Because again, friends are people we spend a lot of our time with, especially for children in school, outside of school, maybe socializing at home. And so they do spend a lot of the time with their friends. And if these are people who are healthy, then overall they're going to feel good around them and they're going to feel good about themselves. But if this friendship is one that's negative, it's not helpful to the child, then they're going to feel having to change themselves. They're going to feel unhappy, unsafe, and then they're really going to want to isolate themselves if it continues to be something that's uncomfortable for them. So, the types of people that your child hangs out with, the types of friends they have, and the types of friendships they're involved in can affect anything from their self esteem, their happiness levels, and also affects how supported they feel, how social they feel. And then it also gives them someone who can listen to them, who can feel like they give them good advice, they can guide them in the right direction, they can be a good influence on them, good role models, and so forth. And it also allows them to learn from other people and to explore what other interests they might have together. How are other people? How do people socialize? It can really teach them all these different social skills and then also development skills as well. So, social development, any kind of ways they can relate with other people. And if, especially early on, if the child is having bad experiences with friendship, that can negatively affect them as they get older, as they grow up, and then try to socialize with other people as well. So if that was a bad experience, they might carry that experience later on in their teenage years, and especially as adults as well. And then also with healthy friendships, they do teach your child different things. They give them new opportunities. They're able to learn, especially if they're friends with children from different parts of life and different, backgrounds and different communities. They're able to then learn about different cultures and learn acceptance, learn how to appreciate the differences of other people, the different qualities, and then maybe again different cultures, different food, different experiences in life. So it can really unlock a lot of things for the child, especially if the friendship is one that's healthy. And then it can also protect them against risky behaviors. So, specifically, substance use, peer pressure, maybe taking part in activities that aren't really the best, anything that's risky to them. And if they have healthy friendships and good friends, then they're more likely to be protected from all those behaviors. So they'll have that confidence, they'll have good influences around them. They can be a good influence to other students, maybe to do better in school, to do well in life, to take part in productive activities. And so more likely to avoid taking part in any kind of substance use. And then it can also protect them against loneliness, against those feelings of isolation. And it can also be an opportunity for them to have a good example that's being set for them. And it can really protect them again against that peer pressure, especially as young children, especially as teenagers, where teenagers and children are more social, they're more influenced by their environment, by their peers. They really want to fit into a certain group, and they don't really want to feel like they're outside of the crowd or they're doing something different. And so having those good friends again gives them some model, something to follow, or some people to model their behavior after. And then we learn now about how children can look out for healthy friendships and then look out for the qualities of unhealthy friendships. We also want to make sure we teach our children how to be good friends. And so that starts with your child being a good friend. And then also meeting other children who are good people, good friends as well. And so they're able to have a good group of friends, a good environment to be with. And if the child themselves isn't a healthy friend, isn't a good friend, it's less likely for them to form and then keep relationships with other good friends. So they're more likely, if they're a friend who is bad, who's a bad influence, they might be more likely to spend more time with other bad influences for the most part. So by teaching the children these skills early on, they can really develop strong social skills, strong skills in being good friends and forming healthy friendships, and then letting them children understand that friendship is all about sharing your interests, sharing different activities, respecting the interests of other people as well, not making your friend feel silly for being interested in something, because that could be something that's very important to them. So people might have different interests, different hobbies, and then learning to accept that and then to share your own skills, your own interests, and not trying to feel like you have to change yourself just to get along with a group of people. And then also teaching trust and teaching respect, teaching honesty, all different values, different qualities that are important in many areas in life. But those important qualities also translate over to friendship. They should also learn and be able to share their thoughts, share their feelings, but also, again, respecting those of other people, the opinions and beliefs of others. And then also trying to teach them empathy, being able to relate to how their friend feels, how other people feel, and then being able to communicate that with them. And then again, acceptance, accepting others for who they are, and then also encouraging them to support the other people, their other friends, and to also make sure they learn to be committed to the friendship. So, especially learn it early on, children might be the type where they'll have a best friend one day, and then the next day onto another friend, and then they're just really jumping from friendship to friendship. And this is kind of common early on in younger ages, but teaching the child from a young age that they should be willing to commit to a friendship, especially if that friendship is one that's healthy. And so, with that, they're able to not switch so often from one friend to another, but maybe form a friendship circle, a friendship group that they communicate with regularly. And that's really helpful because the other people might feel that, you know, your child is going from friend to friend, not really committing, not really staying true to that one friend. And so, that's also something that's very important to get them thinking about and get them to consider. And then we did look over some of the different qualities of healthy friendships. And then this is a way to help your children recognize the signs of a healthy friendship. So they might know all about, okay, I should be in a healthy friendship, but what does that exactly look like? So letting your child maybe sit and think about, how do they feel with the friends that they're with? How do their friendships make them feel most of the time? And then for this, you can have a little checklist that they can go through, asking them to consider, do they feel happy when they are with this person or with this group of people? Do their friends respect their feelings, respect their opinions, their interests, or are they usually bringing them down a lot of the time? Or maybe they're dismissing them when they do speak. And then getting them to think about, when these conversations are happening with that friend, with that group of friends, what does that really look like? Is it just the friend that's speaking the entire time about themselves, about their feelings, their interests? Or does your child also have opportunity to share what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and it's almost equal? And then also, are their friends really happy for them when something good happens? So if your child succeeds at something or has a major life change that's positive, how do their friends react to that? Do they maybe become jealous? Are they upset with that? Or are they genuinely happy for them? And then also, if your child does enjoy being with this person or with this group of people, and then also, do they have that freedom and that ability to hang out with other people as well? Or do they feel like that friendship or those friends require them to only spend time with them? You know, sometimes your child might have many different friend groups, many different friends, but does that one friend kind of seem like they don't want them speaking to other people? Or do they become upset when they do? So that's also something the child should look out for, especially in teenage years and like, you know, early teens especially, that could happen. And then just as important as looking at all the different qualities of healthy friendships, it's important to recognize and let your child recognize what are the signs of unhealthy friendships. So this isn't a comprehensive list of every possible quality, but in general, this could be a great way to check if your child is in an unhealthy friendship or not. So maybe your child could sit and think about how they feel about their friend's temper. Do the friends have a temper? Are they constantly feeling on edge with them? Maybe afraid of how the friend might react? And again, feeling like they're going to be criticized, or maybe the friends criticize people that the child cares about. So maybe for other friends, other family, and then they're also feeling like they're being criticized. So judged, made fun of, anything like that. Also, a major warning sign would be if the child feels they're threatened by that friend group, by that other friend, whether to physically hurt them or whether to maybe emotionally hurt them, or maybe they feel like they're being threatened under one condition. So, for example, the friend might or the child might feel that their friends almost force them to take part in certain activities, to go and hang out in certain places, or else that friend will stop talking to them, or else that friend might criticize them. So it could be feeling threatened in that kind of way as well, that they must do what the friend wants, or else some sort of consequence is going to happen. And then also, if the child feels like their friend is bullying them, makes fun of them, or if that friend is a bully to other students. So the friend that your child is with might not bully them directly, but if that friend bullies other students, makes fun of other students, other people, maybe gossips a lot, that should really be a warning sign, especially for your child. So your child might say, that friend doesn't really gossip about me, they don't bully me, but there is no way for your child to know for sure. If that friend is that type of person who's prone to bullying, disregarding the feelings of others, it could be likely that your child may face that, sooner than later. And then also, pressure is a very major thing to be looking out for. So if your child constantly feels pressured to do anything that they might not want to do, risky behavior, substance use, cheating in school, anything like that, that would make your child feel uncomfortable. And then also lacking trust, lacking respect, either it's towards your child specifically or towards other people as well. Because we really want to emphasize the importance of trust, respect, especially in forming friendships. And then also looking back to how it feels in that friendship for your child. So is there that equal give and take? Does your child have a say-so in what the friends do, what they'll do together, what kind of activities they have, or what kinds of topics they speak about? And then your child also could be thinking about how they respond to the friend. So maybe the friend has some opinions, some viewpoints that your child doesn't agree with, but then they find themselves having to agree with them, or lying and saying they agree with the friend even though they don't. Again, they might be doing that because they're afraid of backlash, or they're afraid they might be bullied or criticized by that friend. So again, there's that feeling of being on edge, not feeling too comfortable or not feeling safe in that friendship, whether it's just by hanging out or with the things that you speak about or the things that you're going to do. And then, of course, the friend might make the child feel like they won't be friends anymore if they do disagree with them. So your child's constantly worried about, what state is this friendship in? Are they my friend today? Are they going to stop talking to me tomorrow? Are they going to go from one friend to another and then just ignore me or make me feel isolated? Things like that. So they're not really consistent. They're not really committed to that friendship. So it is important to let your child know these different traits to make sure they're following the more healthy traits and then working on any unhealthy friendship traits so that they can be a good friend, and then also they can know what to look out for in other friends. So those were some different ways to directly help your child recognize what kind of friendships they're in, and then also allow them to make sure they're being a good friend as much as they can. So other ways for parents now, maybe they might be wondering, is my child in an unhealthy friendship? What can I look out for and how can I address this? And so the next few slides will talk all about that. And so if you do worry that your teen, that your child is in an unhealthy friendship, then you can look for these different signs in your child. you might find that they have a lower self-esteem, especially if they were someone who was a lot more confident before, and then you've noticed this drop in their self-esteem, especially as they're in school now, hanging out with friends more often. Keeping a lookout for that. How is their self-esteem? How do they feel about themselves? Are they as confident as they usually are, or is there something that has changed? Then also, if they do feel withdrawn, if they are isolating themselves a lot more, or they just don't feel like socializing, they might not feel like hanging out with other people, just to also look out for that as well. And then also something that can be common for parents to look out for would be if the child no longer has the same group of friends. So you might know who your child is hanging out with, what kinds of friends come over, who they spend most of their time with. And then if you notice that the group of friends has changed, or there are newer friends that you don't know too well, to also make sure that you look out for that. And then also if there is a major change in their behavior or in their attitude altogether. So by looking out for those different warning signs, again, it could be a cause or it could be an effect from other things that are going on. So if your child is experiencing lower self-esteem, if they're isolating themselves, it might not mean that they're in an unhealthy friendship, but it can still be a sign that there is something going on. And then that can be just a warning for you to look, have a conversation with them, and see what is that issue that we can address. So that way, once you're more aware of what your child might be going through, you can speak to them and see what is it that we can help you with. And then it might be that they are in an unhealthy friendship and they just don't know it. And so letting them recognize those warning signs and then the qualities of healthy friendships can be really helpful for them. So there are different ways that parents can help once they've looked for the warning signs and they've decided to take that next step to speak to their child. And then there is a way to do this by directly addressing the issue. So you can directly tell your child, I'm concerned you might be in an unhealthy friendship, and then here's what I want to do with you. And so you can tell them how you feel about their friends, especially if you've noticed that the friend might be unhealthy for them, but to also avoid being too strict. So instead of telling them, you cannot hang out with this friend, you can't speak with this friend anymore, and then just leaving it at that, that could maybe make your child not understand what's going on, and they might not really want to agree with that, and they might still continue seeing the friends regardless. So you do want to explain the reasons why you're telling them that. You could tell them you're just concerned their friend might be unhealthy, they might be a bad influence on them, and then to allow them to recognize those traits on their own. So that isn't, a sign of you just being neglectful or not caring about what your child's going through, but it is an opportunity to let your child recognize these things for themselves, learn these skills, and then make their own decision at the end of it. So that way it's one they're more comfortable with and one they feel good about. And then just by letting them, maybe putting that idea out there that they could be in an unhealthy friendship, could get your child to start thinking about it and then to see what should they be doing. And then other ways that parents prefer to address some issues would be in an indirect way. So sometimes it's not too comfortable just to speak to your child directly about something, especially if you're not too sure that is what they're going through. So you can do this indirectly, and then again by teaching your child about healthy friendships. So the ones that we went over today, and then many other ones that you can look for online to learn more about, just to see what a healthy friendship is all about, and then speaking to your child about that, letting them know a friendship should be one you feel safe in, one you feel comfortable in, and just really highlighting those good qualities. And then also speaking to them about warning signs of an unhealthy friendship or of a bad friend. And then if you don't feel too comfortable speaking about them specifically, you could, for example, use something you see on TV or something you read about online, and then just tell your child, like, for example, I'm watching this TV show and the friends in this show seem to be constantly disrespecting each other. They don't keep each other's secrets. What do you think about that kind of friendship? Do you think that's a friendship a person should be in or not? And then just getting that conversation going. So that way you are letting your child learn more about healthy friendships, unhealthy friendships, without directly telling them that you want them to be in a healthy friendship. So that is also a great approach because it really sticks with the child, gets them thinking, And then they're also more likely to make those better decisions for themselves. These are other ways too that a parent can help. And so they can do so by limiting the time the child spends with their friends. So helping your child distance themselves from an unhealthy friendship, but instead of telling them they can't see this friend, they're no longer allowed to speak with them, you can maybe conveniently plan different things for your child to do instead. So if your child was supposed to go hang out with an unhealthy friend, to maybe have some sort of activity planned that day, or have something that they have to be doing instead. And so over time, they're spending less and less time with that friend, and they're being encouraged to spend time with themselves or spend time with other people who might be healthier for them. So over time, just having different activities, encouraging, time to be spent in a better way, anything like that. So that way they're slowly distancing themselves, and maybe they will start to realize they are feeling better the less time they spend with that specific friend. And then also reminding your child of their worth. This is all about, teaching life skills, teaching these beneficial things for your child, letting them recognize how to be more comfortable with who they are. And so over here, it talks about peer pressure and then that need to seek validation from friends. And so when a child has less self-confidence in themselves, or they don't feel too comfortable with who they are, they might start to depend on other people for that kind of confidence. And so when they're able to trust themselves more, they no longer need to depend on an unhealthy friend to give them confidence. So this is something we also see with the schools. And I do a lot of the life skills programming in the schools. And then this teaches students all about confidence, all about decision-making skills, social skills, communication. And with that, they're able to think about themselves, think about the role confidence can play in the decisions we make and in the people we spend most of our time with. So if your child or a child in general is someone who doesn't feel too comfortable with who they are, they might, spend more time with friends, even if they're unhealthy for them, because they might feel they need that validation from that friend. They need to be accepted or to belong to a certain group. So when they're able to recognize they are a person who's confident, they're a person who is whole all on their own, they're someone who is capable, who is smart, they start to build up their own confidence, and they realize they can get that, that validation from themselves. And then they no longer need those unhealthy friends to make them feel good or to make them feel accepted. And so along with teaching your child the different signs of healthy friendships, unhealthy friendships, speaking to them directly about your concerns, you can also speak to a teacher if there is bullying going on, especially at school. So letting them know that the teacher can monitor the interactions your child might have if your child is being bullied directly in class, in the hallway, or anywhere at school, just to have some adult there looking out for them to see what is going on. And then if there are rumors involved. So a lot of the time with unhealthy friendships, there could be, as a result, some rumors that go around about your child or about a child in general. And if your child is dealing with different rumors, they might be under a lot of stress. They might not know how to cope with this. And so it's really helpful to teach your child and help your child cope with this situation. So a good first step would be to find out where they're coming from. If your child has a feeling who started these rumors, or if they're able to track the source for those rumors, that would be a great way to go to the source and then to address it directly there. But you also don't want to focus so much on the rumors if they are happening. You don't want to constantly bring this up to your child or bring it up around your child. Again, it's a stressful situation, but then to avoid always talking about it, always bringing it up, and then allowing the child to feel like they're to blame or it's their fault, that's also something we want to avoid doing. And then what you also want to do is to reduce the chance that rumors will happen again. So most of the time, rumors could happen if a child shares something personal, shares a secret with someone who isn't trustworthy, or they share it with a friend and then they get into an argument, the friend wants to get back at them or something like that. So for them to always learn to be very careful with who they tell their secrets to, who they share private information with, and to also make sure that they're 100% certain that the friend they're speaking with is someone who's trustworthy, someone who is respectful, is responsible, and will make sure to keep that information private. So making sure they know who to speak with, what kind of information to share, and if they don't want something to be known by others, they should really avoid sharing it with just anybody. And then to also be careful with what they post online, the types of information they give out, anything that they may be posting. Because they have to always make sure they know that whatever they do post, whatever they do share with others, could potentially be used against them. So they want to make sure that they're very mindful, very, thinking about what they post, what they make public, and then what they share with other people. So that way, that reduces the likelihood of any information being out there that can be used against them later on. And then also, if there is bullying going on, if there are rumors going on, and if your child is in an unhealthy friendship, it's still important for them to remain respectful. So, for example, if they do receive mean text messages, or if they're being called names, or again, if they're being bullied in any way like that, to make sure they're not responding back in that same way. So they're not bullying them back, they're not starting rumors about the friends, they're not saying things in a mean way. And then also for them to stand up for themselves, but to avoid name calling, and really not to fight it in the same way that it's being done to them. So respect, remaining responsible through all this is something that's very important. And again, it doesn't mean that they're, being stepped on or they're not standing up for themselves. They still are standing up for themselves, but it's being done in a better way, in a way that's responsible, in a way that isn't going to lead to more harm or lead to more trouble for them. And then if there is physical bullying, or if there is bullying in general, for your child to understand not to fight back physically or to fight back with their words. Sometimes we might tell them to hit them back if they're trying to hit them. And then kids have this misconception that that's self-defense, that they're just defending themselves by fighting back with the person. But really, they can defend themselves if the situation needs it, in a way that's, again, responsible, respectful, and in a way that can, stop the trouble right then and there. Because if they're going to fight back or use mean words back, it's just going to escalate the situation. So allowing your child to think about how they can stop these actions without resorting to violence or without resorting to harming anyone. And then you can come up with different strategies, how they can use their words responsibly, how they can step away from a situation, maybe get help from an adult or get help from someone else. Again, in any way that won't resort to more violence. And then also allowing your child to learn how to handle things as they happen. So you don't want to get too hung up on worrying for the future, worrying about anything that could happen, just to know that they can handle these things as they occur and if they occur. And then also learning how to set new boundaries. So if they are in an unhealthy friendship, if there is bullying or anything like that going on, boundaries are very important. You can let your child know they do not have to continue spending time with a friend, especially if they're one who is constantly disrespecting them and is unhealthy for them. So they do have that choice, they do have that power to set a boundary, to decide if they want to continue being their friend or not. And then to also limit that time they spend with their friend, and then how much time that friend has with them. And so that is also connected to that self-confidence, those social skills, development skills, that when your child has their confidence built up, is more confident in saying, I know my worth, I know who I want to spend my time with, and then I choose to set this boundary. So they'll no longer need to depend on those friends for that confidence and for that comfort. And then also your child can always take a break if it's becoming too much, if a friend is unhealthy for them or is treating them poorly. They can take a break from that friendship for as long as they need, and then to see what next steps to take. And then also it's a great way to have a chat with the friend's parents. So for the parents to speak to each other, to see what's going on, and then to take it from there, really. And then also another way would be just to let your child learn on their own, and then to also have patience, and that they will learn what's best for them. They will learn how to handle these situations, especially if you're teaching them, speaking to them about these topics, and then really giving them the skills that they need and the information that they need. So by letting your child learn from their own experiences, it doesn't mean that you don't care about what's going on. It doesn't mean that you're ignoring the situation. It just means that you allow them to learn these new things and then to make their best decisions. And you also show that you're trusting them to be smart enough to notice unhealthy friends or unhealthy friendships. And then in the future, they know to avoid similar people. And then if you do feel that the situation is out of hand, or you feel the need to step in, then you're more than welcome to do so, especially in the ways that we talked about earlier, or any other way you think is going to be the most beneficial for your child and for the other children involved too. And then so using these tips today, it can allow you to get a better understanding of what's going on, especially if there are warning signs in your child, and you might worry that they are in unhealthy friendships. Hopefully you can use many of these tips and then learn other tips as well to help you navigate the situation. And a lot of the time, parents can tell if their child is in an unhealthy friendship. Sometimes they just have that instinct, they have that feeling that certain friends aren't going to be good for their child. So really trust that instinct, take that as a way to take the next step, to speak with your child, and then to step in if you need to do so. And then your child sometimes might ignore your concerns. They might not really agree with what you're saying, but at the end, they'll definitely thank you in the long run, especially when you help them out in a way that's good for them. And then they'll look back and realize that you did have their best interest, you did care about them, and that you were protecting them from an unhealthy friendship and an unhealthy situation. So that is all for today. If there are any questions, anything like that, any comments, I'd be more than happy to take them. So thank you so much, everyone, for listening, and hopefully you can benefit from this information today.
Thank you, Hala. That was an important presentation about how to build healthy friendships. And I'd like to also remind the parents that open enrollment actually is on right now. So feel free to refer your friends and family, those who are not members of the HES academies, that it is the time to apply to join the academies. Just a reminder that we are public academies, tuition free with no geographical restrictions. We give a Chromebook for every enrolled student, and there are various locations that students can join, and these are the links on the screen that you can use. With that, we come to an end to our presentation, and thank you, Hala, again for this presentation and for the continuous flow of presentations that Access provides for the community. And we look forward to see you again in an upcoming family engagement broadcast next Friday, March 25th, about parent mentoring. That one is presented by LAHC. And with that, I think I come to an end to my presentation. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Hala?
Thank you so much for having me, and we look forward to the next one.
Of course, dear parents, if you're listening to this later and you have any questions, please send them to us. We will forward them to Hala. And if you need any assistance with your children in any way, please contact the school. We have many resources for you, including the social worker in the schools. Thank you again. Enjoy your weekend.
HES Academies have been serving the Detroit metro area for over 23 years, promoting academic excellence, leadership, and cultural diversity, ranking as some of the top schools in the state of Michigan. Our pre-K through 12th grade students enjoy tuition-free, state-accredited education by STEM certified and highly qualified staff with no geographical restrictions, and with advanced placement, college dual enrollment, scholarship, and Arabic language programs. Nor International Academy in Sterling Heights at niapsa.org, Star International Academy in Dearborn Heights and in Canton at starpsa.org, Universal Academy in Detroit at universalpsa.org, and Universal Learning Academy in Westland at ulapsa.org. Join HES Academies today and enjoy a free Chromebook for every enrolled student.